What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 7 Sleeper Picks.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to give you some of my top DFS sleeper picks for NFL Week 7.
Super low priced and low ownership players that could crush value this week and give your lineup an advantage over the field. These are risky plays, meant for large tournaments only. Don't go all in on any of these guys. They are high risk, high reward picks. And if you stay to the very end after all my picks and after I show you the draft dashboard tools, I'll give you my super secret sleeper pick that no one's talking about.
Okay guys, DraftKings and FanDuel, Week 7, here's my sleeper pick at the quarterback position. So I like Josh Allen. He's going to be about 6% owned. So let's take a look at a little bit lower ownership, moving down into the 1, 2, 3% ownership range. There's three guys that really stand out here. Jimmy Garoppolo from the San Francisco 49ers playing the Washington Redskins, who have the 6th worst defense overall and give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo is averaging 15.3 fantasy points per game on the season, so that's not a great game average. He rushes the ball 4.2 times per game, so he can get loose for a big gain on the ground. He's projected at 17 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's only 6,000 DraftKings salary and 1,500 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 40 points scored in this game, and they have the San Francisco 49ers favored by 9.5. So they think the 49ers are going to do most of the scoring. Jimmy Garoppolo's got a ton of weapons, and I'm just waiting for him to have that breakout 20-plus fantasy point game. It could come here in Week 7 with a great matchup versus the Washington Redskins, so I like Jimmy Garoppolo here versus the Washington Redskins. Okay, right under Garoppolo, you got Kirk Cousins from the Minnesota Vikings playing the Detroit Lions, who have the 10th worst defense overall and give up the 13th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins has averaged 17 fantasy points per game on the season, but he's coming off of a 24 and 31 point fantasy games. He rushes the ball 2.8 times per game. He's only going to be about 2% owned, so you think the ownership would be a little bit higher considering he's coming off of 2 great weeks, but he's only projected at 16.5 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's 5,800 DraftKings salary and 1,500 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 43.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Minnesota Vikings favored by 2.5. So this is going to be a competitive game. I know everyone thinks that they're going to run the ball with Dalvin Cook all game, and I'm sure he's going to get his touches, but Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen have been on fire, so they could get their touchdowns through the air. And at such low ownership, Kirk Cousins has that 30-point upside. So I like Kirk Cousins here versus the Detroit Lions. And my favorite sleeper pick at the quarterback position for Week 7 is Jacoby Brissett from the Indianapolis Colts playing the Houston Texans, who have the 11th worst defense overall and give up the 7th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett is averaging 18.8 fantasy points per game on the season. He gets almost 5 rush attempts per game, and he's only going to be about 3% owned. He's projected at 17.9 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's 5,600 DraftKings salary and 1,700 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47 points scored in this game, and they have the Colts favored by 1. This is a home game for Jacoby Brissett. T.Y. Hilton's back. He's looking healthy. I think they have a big game tonight. My interest in this play has increased every day this week, so I like Jacoby Brissett here versus the Houston Texans.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, FanDuel and DraftKings, Week 7. This is my sleeper pick at the running back position. If you're looking for value in high volume and low ownership, take a look at Carlos Hyde from the Houston Texans playing the Indianapolis Colts, who have the 14th worst defense overall, and they're pretty good against running backs, giving up the 10th fewest fantasy points to running backs. But Carlos Hyde is averaging 11.8 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 22 fantasy points last game off of 26 rush attempts. He's averaging 16.5 rush attempts per game on the season, and he's only going to be about 3% owned. So he's got 20 plus point upside. He's projected at 10.3 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's $4,700 DraftKings salary and $1,600 more on FanDuel. You've got that game total of 47. The game should be close, so Carlos Hyde should be running the ball all game long. If he can get 20 plus touches at that salary, I think it could make him a smash play this week. So I like Carlos Hyde here versus the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay guys, if you're getting any value from this video, please hit that red subscribe button. We put out new fantasy football videos every day. So if you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification, you won't miss out on any of our new fantasy football videos. Tons of free stuff coming your way. It only takes a second, and it helps us push out more fantasy football content for you guys to consume each and every day. It's because of you subscribers that make this possible. So thank you for supporting this channel.
This is my sleeper pick at the wide receiver position. I digged long and deep for this one, and I found Taylor Gabriel from the Chicago Bears playing the New Orleans Saints, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Taylor Gabriel was out the last couple of weeks recovering from a concussion. So he's back, and he's averaging 13.4 fantasy points per game on the season. He gets about 5 pass targets per game. He's only going to be about 1% owned. He's on the field for 85% of the snaps, and he's projected at 6.7 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's only $3,900 DraftKings salary and $900 more on FanDuel. So I love that DraftKings price. Now Vegas has this as a low game total, only 37.5 projected points in this game, but they have the Chicago Bears favored by 4. And this is a home game for Taylor Gabriel. He scored 32 fantasy points in his last game, the game that he got hurt in. I've been waiting for him to come back, and I'm super happy that he's going to be low owned. I think this could be another smash play. He's got a good matchup this week, so I like Taylor Gabriel here versus the New Orleans Saints.
Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, MLB is still going, NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Here's my sleeper pick for the tight end position. So I love Hunter Henry, but his ownership has come way up. He's now projected at about 15% ownership. That's up from about 5% earlier in the week, but he's in a smash spot versus the Tennessee Titans, who give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends, and he's only $4,000 DraftKings salary and $1,700 more on FanDuel. So I love Hunter Henry, but he's not going to be a sleeper pick this week. But a guy at only 5% ownership, who could fall under the radar, is Jimmy Graham from the Green Bay Packers playing the Oakland Raiders, who have the 7th worst defense overall and give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Jimmy Graham is averaging 6.8 fantasy points per game on the season. He gets 4 pass targets per game, and those aren't great numbers. But remember, the Green Bay Packers have a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position, so Jimmy Graham should be picking up quite a few targets in the passing game. He's only going to be about 5% owned, so I think that ownership is way too low for a guy who's going to get increased targets. He's going to get the red zone looks. He's projected at 8.8 fantasy points here in week 7, and he's only $4,200 DraftKings salary and $1,600 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Green Bay Packers favored by 5.5. This is a home game, so I like Jimmy Graham here versus the Oakland Raiders.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. You've unlocked the bonus content.
My super secret sleeper pick is Dante Pettis from the San Francisco 49ers playing the Washington Redskins, who have the 6th worst defense overall and give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Dante Pettis has only averaged 4.8 fantasy points per game on the season, but in his last 3 games, he scored 8, 12, and a 2. So he's a true wild card out there. I think he's gaining momentum. You can see his targets are increasing. He got 6 targets last game, and he's only going to be about 1% owned. So a super sleeper pick here, projected at 9.8 fantasy points here in week 7. He's $4,100 DraftKings salary and 1,000 more on FanDuel. So I think this could be the week that Dante Pettis explodes. He's got a great matchup. If you're playing Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's a nice stack to pair him with Dante Pettis. It's a risky play, but we've seen this guy's got some pretty big upside. We saw it last year, and we haven't really seen it so far this year. So it could come this week. So I like Dante Pettis here versus the Washington Redskins.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite
player for this NFL slate.
I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.
Do you want more fantasy football picks? Check out the video linked right in the middle of the screen. If you got any value from this video, please tap that subscribe button before you get out of here and ring that bell notification so you won't miss our daily fantasy football uploads. We're putting out new videos every day, so I don't want you guys to miss any of our free content.